This is how much we know about movies. We if you want a raw review of movies, you're getting it right here because we don't know shit.
Dad! Fuck, I don't know, man. Is that like nostalgia purposes for kids these age?
I don't give a shit. I don't care.
We get that, Pop.
Fine, I'll Google it. Through the magic
I mean, you don't
of
have
podcasting.
to Google it. I'm just saying, just take it out.
No.
Not bring it out, or just be better prepared.
Now I'm shut your fucking mouth.
I am the father.
Man, sometimes I wish like things would stay at a simpler time mentality.
Welcome to the Two Dads Review podcast. Man, I cannot remember an episode of this show that made me feel this good for the entire episode. I mean, next week is going to be so bad. So bad.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get highs like that in this show. I mean, brief glimpses of it, but this was a very drawn out high. Like,
yeah,
I was honestly, by
great.
the end of the episode, like, I was waiting for that other foot to fall, like, not to where, like, you know, holy hell broke loose, but at least I was like, okay, the way this shit's going, man, like, is many times if I have teared up, even before we really got to, like, any significant scenes, like, it was just people looking at each other and shit, you know, and I was like, God damn it. But I really thought by the end of this episode, like, we were going to have, like, a happy-go-lucky moment, and, you know, homeboy we all, like, I don't know, pick any of them, like, was going to come around the corner and then just, like, get offed. You know, like, I just thought it was going to be one of those kind of, like, they're not even going to give somebody that is a dude
deserving of a battle.
Kind of, like, well, not even, like, I'm not saying, like, they were going to say, like, Giants Bane, like, just, like, fucking swift kill him real quick, you know, like, that's a total dick move. Like, that motherfucker deserves, like, with Valkyries and whatever other holy warrior object you can think of in, like, lore fighting with him.
Yeah.
Like, as his shit goes down. Like, that's the only way he can go down. But, like, the Night Watchman guy, you know, that's, like, just the smaller of the guys. That's like, hey, I'm here. I'm fucking somehow still here, amazingly. You know, like, we're all kind of like, man, good on you for being here. But I was, like, a dude like him, I was just expecting at the very end of this episode, before it does the fade to black and credit pop up, like, that motherfucker takes something, like, in the face, or there be, you know, like, one of the dead, like, right there. And it was like, oh, that guy ain't making it. And then it's like, oh, we're done. See you fucking next week, jackass. Like, I was like, And they actually just kind of ended it on, like, this is as good as it's gonna get note, but also, as far as Game of Thrones go, was a real fucking high note.
Yeah, true. And it's not like it was, no one had a good time. They were all, every single character we've seen are all facing the fact that they're probably going to die tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's everybody's last night. Everybody's treating the night as if it was their last. And people are doing things, you know, last second things they wanted to do. People are sitting and hanging out with friends, telling stories.
You get a lot of that natural honesty. And like a lot of,
I'll tell you, no, here's how it is. Here it is. A lot of, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And that could be said for, like, Arya. It could be said for, like, Jaime and Brienne. It could be said for a lot of stuff that happened that episode.
Yeah, but you also get a lot of the, finally, you're seeing the heaviness way. No one's a house. No one's an old villain anymore. Like, all of that shit is just done. Like, yeah, you kind of see some of it at the beginning of this episode with Jaime, like, rolling back in all fucking one-handed and cock strong. Like, I mean, I'll give him
one-handed and humble. The man is one-handed and humble.
I don't care how humbled he may feel. To feel that you can just, like, roll up in Winterfell, like, even to go, hey, I'm here to fight the good fight, and still, like, think you're gonna make it out alive. You're cock strong. Like,
okay, true.
I'm not, that is just, I mean, dude, his redemption arc's fucking cool, but that is just a ballsy move. Like, right. But of course, then you get, like, the whole super, like, cool scene of, like, everybody coming to his, like, aid, kind of, and explaining the other side of him that no one really knows about. You know, that was really, really nice. But
and it's cool to see it, and it was cool because you had this you had Tyrion stand up for him, which of course he is. He's his brother, and Dany's already mad at him in the first place, especially after Jaime confirms that Cersei is not sending her army. But then and then you see Dany was cool, then Sansa was going to be with Dany, and they were both still mad at him. And then as you saw Brienne, you just saw her watching, and you were like she was like, all right, well, I guess it's time for me to get up and say something. This guy protected me from a friggin' bear. So, she gets up and says her piece. And that was cool of her. I mean, he's said for the longest time that she's the most noble person of all that, he's ever run into in the first place.
Yeah, what's so funny, man, is obviously she's a very tall woman, right? So that throws everybody off.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how when, even for as kind of quiet and reserved as her character has been, not always just saying shut the fuck up, I could cut your head off. She doesn't do that,
Mm-hmm.
Even though we all go, you could, probably should, but you're just somehow better than all of us. I appreciate you for being that person, right? And It's cool when she gets up because of just her character. And I don't mean her character as the person that they wrote, but her word, right? She's everything she said right there was solely based on her word. It was the coolest fucking thing, because everybody then went, well, based on what you've done for me alone, knowing that if you're telling me this, holy shit, right?
Yeah, having her speak, she brings so much of the people's lives in that room that she's personally saved.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing. It's you've done Sansa and Jaime and, other folks. And it's just all this comes flooding back when she speaks.
And I like how it's, that whole, one of the things that everybody always fantasizes about, medieval times and fantasy realms like that is, your word's your bond.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was their word back then, and we're all, obviously from this show realizing that everybody's just a conniving lying asshole at the end of the day, right?
Right.
But she is still one of the only characters in the show that doesn't really have a crazy redemption arc from being bad to good. It's just more of a getting to where you fucking should be kind of thing,
right?
And
getting what you deserve type thing, yeah.
But her word was more final than any royalties say, that was that cool her name is. When someone talks about her in the far fucking east,
Mm-hmm.
that carries with her. When they talk about her, her word will be yeah, there'll be stories of her that are she never told a lie in her life and defended the fucking 7 kingdoms from dead people and dragons, by the way. You know what I'm saying? There'll just be these, it'll be yo, dude, on Tarth, homie. That shit will be the fucking ultimate bond. Yo, I am not lying, right? That is how epic she has become to me.
Yeah, I want her to, especially if she falls on Sunday, I want her, she will have gotten everything she's ever dreamed for since she was a kid. She's become a knight. She's led an army of men and women and all, she's led an army. She's been at the head of an army and, fought the most villainous foe there ever is. So she gets everything. So there are a few folks this episode coming up that if they do go down, they have fulfilled their arc and they can literally die in the most badass way possible. So that's always out there. And another cool thing on a side note, when it comes to Brienne and Jaime being at Winterfell, this marks the first time that Widow's Wail, Jaime's sword, that was the one that was originally made for Joffrey, and Oathkeeper, which is the one that he presented Brienne with, that those two swords, if you remember, were forged from ice, which was Ned Stark's sword, Tywin Lannister had it forged into 2 different swords because it was a broadsword. That was that big giant, like as tall as he was, sword he used. So there's plenty of Valyrian steel to go around with that sword. So it was cool that they got together. So that was kind of a whole like Winterfell, and like the sword of Winterfell is like back there defending it. So that's cool with them both being there. Let's see. What else? Let's see. So they let her, they let Jaime go because you gotta let the guy fight, at least for a little bit. Oh, the opening. So the opening before we even got to that scene. So now you have to watch like every week because the opening changes. So now like the blue tiles are already past Last Hearth and they're getting closer to Winterfell. And then around Winterfell, you could see, which we saw in person later on the episode, like they have like the spikes that are sticking out of the ground, like the hedgehogs with dragon glass like stuck into them.
I love the pigeon. I love the pigeon nest they have. Like,
what's a pigeon nest?
Well, yeah. So like, yeah, all the broken glass they had like on the wall for like that you see in like buildings in like the cities,
for like deterrence, keep birds from landing on them.
Yeah, so they can't stand on them and shit. And I was like, that's fucking, like that's all I thought of. Like in my head, I just immediately went like, it's like looking at like a DC office window. You know, like I don't think you can do that shit anymore, but it was just all the barb stuff. And I was like, I like how though this show has always kind of paid attention to little details like that. Like, yo, man, if that shit is basically like a hot knife through butter to them, and they're gonna obviously try to climb these fucking walls, well, you better stick as much shit in there as you can and make it as hard as you fucking can.
Right.
Because I feel like they're not gonna use ladders. Like it's gonna be a World War Z kind of flood. Like up like that,
Yeah, think about what was the fight that Jon was in near the water? I can't remember the title of it. Do you remember?
You're asking the wrong co-host.
Because I didn't just look it up and just cut all that out. Battle at Hardhome. And that's the one at the very end where the Night King raised his arms and raised all the dead people from the battle up, and Jon's like floating away on the boat. That season, but even in that season, you saw the walkers. They just ran off the cliff and just fell down a whole cliff to get up and then run towards the battle. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be World War Z style climbing. But they do have trenches dug around most of Winterfell to like funnel them out, that they're going to miss the fire. They're going to funnel them into certain sections, and they've got stuff pitched they can light on fire in those pits. So it'll be a giant fire ring. I know how big of a fight Battle of the Bastards was, and like how like on an epic scale that fight was, and this one is supposed to blow that one out of the water. And I don't even know how they're gonna. I cannot.
What's going to be cool is the first scene when they hit that trench and they collapse those bridges, because we saw them testing that, and they collapse those little bridges, and I'm gonna wanna bet that there's gonna be a dragon crossfire coming through that fucking trench, or there better goddamn well be, because we pointed out one time the way that dragon was coming across that battlefield lighting shit on fire was not really the best way, and I'm really hoping with as tactical as they're already kind of displaying this battle to be, that one of those trenches is just basically like the igniter switch for the dragon to like come out. They're like, oh, it's full, go get him.
Yeah, right. I wonder if we'll lose it. I wonder if we're going to lose a dragon again next episode. I hope we don't. I think we've lost enough dragons.
I hope we lose both dragons.
You're horrible. That's horrible. Then she won't have...
I hope, because she doesn't need it, and she doesn't deserve it.
True. I was going to say, for as much hatred you spewed her way last episode, you're right. She doesn't necessarily deserve it. It makes you just a normal queen.
And even more in this episode, she was proving the point that like they're all... Which sucks. I was really hoping like they wouldn't do this like kind of, or the way it seems to be going, like all women are evil. Like she's gonna just all be about the crown no matter what. Like it was like all the good shit she did was just a facade, right? And like Jon is the ultimate sacrificial lamb. It's like, are you guys really gonna like write her to end up being like that bitch? Is that what we're going with? Like, is that how we're gonna do it? Like, basically, you're gonna write her as like Cersei 2.0. Like that's the way it's getting funneled down. Like, oh, you're gonna want to be all this, and like, I mean, Cersei was just kind of like a dick from the get-go, right? But
Right.
the way they seem to be shifting this storyline is like they're just going to stack it all and paint it in such a way that her only choice is to be that, like, that evil queen persona. And it's like, why? Why do we need, right? I don't want it to
I don't think
be
we'll
that.
have to. I think John's going to end up, I think he's going to, well, the part is it's not like it's uncommon for there to be rulers that are married and related in this time and in this the history of Westeros. So it's like, okay, so your nephew and friggin' aunt, okay, big deal. So you just both rule, and he doesn't need to have the crown. You can have it. You know, he doesn't want it. He's never wanted any crown. So
Well,
I don't think he's gonna.
Those are all like two logicals. And well, see, the problem is like Dany though. Like even if John did that, if he was like, "Look, I don't want the fucking crown," blah blah blah. Like, just go put it on. I will go literally stand on the side and just say I'm your bodyguard, right?
Mhm.
Like he would do that. Dany knows though.
Right.
So Dany,
It's whether she can let that go.
yeah. And at the end of the day, like I think the way they're writing her is like she's gonna do like the old Thanos thing, like, well, I gotta kill the thing I love to get what I want, you know, like, or they're gonna make it where the evil queen thing is happening, and then like it's gonna be all for naught because John ends up like laying his life down at the end of the day, and
Right.
even though he was king, you know, like he's dead, so she's next in line. Anywho,
Mm-hmm.
right, and then so now you just have like a martyr storyline kind of thing with it, and then she's just like, all right, so we throw a big memorial for the dude I love that is family, right? You know, like, and yeah, and I like how sometimes like they've always made it taboo that a brother and sister were banging. You know, like everybody's always kind of been like, that's a little much, dudes. That's a little much. But they've also made like you said, no quarrels about people being second cousins, you know,
Right.
like kind of related like that. And it's also weird, like some of the stuff that no one seemed to like give a shit about, like, you know, like what was it, the moon trap boy, like that motherfucker, like still sucking on boobies and like just banishing people to like a bottomless pit. And but like the two attractive people that bang each other that happen to be related and like believe that their bloodline is the only royal bloodline, like that's weird, right? Like, you know, everyone's like, oh,
Right.
guys, that's too much. But
So that's where you draw your line, huh?
yeah, right. You know, like Game of Thrones has always been a very, very fluent and curved line with what's
Yeah, the line is
weird
very.
and what's not.
Yeah, we accept that because they're both hot. We don't like that kid because he's creepy.
Basically, that's what
it
it
is.
boiled down to. Like, it was like, I mean, if you were gonna bang like a family member, like, I mean, you would hope they would be hot, right? But like, that
Right.
kid's just weird. Like, he doesn't move well and doesn't seem to grasp reality. You know, like they're
Yeah,
like,
right.
those two know what they're doing. They're just like, whatever.
Well, I like how for the entire episode he was doing that, you know, your grace, and like walking out of the room like he wasn't talking to her. He's like, I don't know, I'm not doing this right now. I was like, oh, are we doing that? Is that how we're doing this? You're gonna be the I'm gonna ignore you right now. Silent treatment. But let's see. I guess while we're talking about banging, we could talk about Gendry and Arya.
Oh, dude, I walked out of the room.
You were like, I couldn't do it. You couldn't do it, huh?
Like, yeah, because I remember seeing, I think, a tweet of hers and was like, you know, because people were like, man, I felt uncomfortable, you know, like Arya's like my little girl growing up kind of thing, you know? And she was like, yeah, well, if you felt weird, like, I'm pretty positive, like, both of my brothers, my parents, and like everybody has
I saw
seen
her
it.
tweet. Yeah.
You know, but all the way up until that point, like, right then, like, I was like, now's a good time for me to go get water. And like I got up and went and got water, and like I couldn't do it. Like as a dad, I went, I cannot watch this scene. Like this makes me like feel weird. It like made me feel a little uncomfortable because it was like that's like me like walking in and like, you know, my little girl's like, oh shit, I'm about to go kill a bunch of stuff and I'm gonna be all grown up today, Dad. And I'm like, whoa, hey, I know we're all about to die tomorrow, but fuck, we gotta birds and bee this shit up here or something, you know? Like, I was like,
Yeah, but well, you think it's weird. Try being the actor who played Gendry, who was in his early 20s when they first met, and she was 11, and now she's 22 or 21, I think, right now.
Yeah,
and he's like, we just got through it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that is one of the crazy things with like shows, especially where children literally grow up in the show. You know what I'm saying? Like and especially when you do a whole genre of the Middle Ages where it's like, 15 really is the sweet spot for pretty much all things legal. Like at that time, right? You know, it's like sex, drugs, gambling. You're a man. You're 15. Get a fucking job. Like, boom.
Why are you still in school? This is stupid. Go get a job at the factory.
Basically.
So we saw her weapon while we're done talking about her banging, because but for Maisie Williams, good on her, man. She's friggin' old enough to do that stuff. She can do whatever she wants to, man.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I was just saying from my personal point of view, because I was House Stark. Like, I was like, I'm Daddy Stark. Like, I love these kiddos. Like, that was me, and like everybody in the show, when like their little side adventure happened, like, I mean, like, Sansa's my oldest daughter, and her and I right now are just like not seeing eye to eye on shit. And I'm like, come on, man. But now, like, you're starting to see things with her like click a little bit too. Like, not so much of just harumph, I'm angry. But also, she's like being super fucking cunning, and like, what about the North, homie? Like, that's what we said. Like, we're not fucking with that shit. And so
I like how strong she's being with all of this, but I do like that she felt comfortable enough to let that down and like go hug Theon when he showed up. Like, you could see, when he showed up and he's like, I'm here to fight for you. And he's the guy that saved her life. And they're the ones that sought each other's company during, the whole like montage of everybody just kind of like on their last little bit when Podrick was singing that song. Like, she just wanted to connect with somebody, and he's the one that she can connect with, because everybody else just, they don't even, it sounds stupid, but they don't even know. They don't know what she's been through, except Bronn, who keeps alluding to that shit. It's like, stop. Because Bronn knows what happened to her. And that's the worst part. Yeah, well, that's the problem with Bronn, is like, he knows everything. He knows. So when Bronn was in the Great Hall where the fireplace was and everything, and they just got done with their war meeting, and Tyrion stayed back when everybody left, and he's like, so what's your story? What happened to you? He's like, oh, it's a long story. And
yeah, like that.
Well, if only we were stuck in a castle.
Yeah.
And so Bronn told him some stuff. So I wonder if he told him some of the future about how the day was going to go, because the next time we see Tyrion, after talking to him, he's drinking like heavily. And I don't know if it's because he feels like he's safe, or if he feels like, and a lot of us are going to die tomorrow. I think that is just an old habit dying hard. Very true. He's always going to drink before a battle. Yeah, like, I mean, he's clearly an alcoholic in the show, like, clearly. But I honestly don't think the drinking was like I know some things. I mean, maybe they'll tell us, but I didn't take it that way. Like, I just kind of was like, I mean, what else the fuck is he going to do? It's not like he's going to do push-ups before the big fight. Like, they've already quarantined his brain to the bottom, like, which is funny, because when she said that, he didn't, at the very end of the episode, he remains on the wall looking over, the same shot from the trailer. We were like, that's gonna be the last shot of the episode, and it pretty much was, him looking over the wall at the, we'll see if he goes down to the crypt or not, like Danny told him to. Yeah, I mean, we'll find out if he actually does that or not, but I was just saying, if you're not prepping for a fight and you're basically just going into a shelter, well, if I'm going to stay here and hang out with everybody, I might as well get fucking drunk and have like a good time, Yeah, what a great, I just love, like, because TV hangovers are like the most perfect hangovers ever. So like, he'll wake up groggy and be like, oh, we're in a war. And then be like, oh, I'm good. Right. You guys ready? I mean, the hearth scene where when they all started, it was Tyrion and Jaime, and they did their brother talk. and we're reminiscing on the past and how when last time they were there, Jaime was a golden lion and Tyrion was a whoremonger. And what did Jaime say? He said, "And you only had one friend, and he was fucking his sister or something." It was.
Oh yeah, shit. What did he? Ah, damn it.
I know.
Yeah, that was one of those good, like, just if you caught it, you caught it, because he just slid it in there like just passing, and you're like, oh, you sneaky fuck.
Right. But then, like, I just loved how that scene grew. Like, you had them there, and then I think Brienne and Pod came in next, and then there was the whole thing about how much wine Pod could drink, and she was like half cup, and then Tyrion like overflows it as he hands it to him, and then like Davos comes in, and he just wants to. You can tell has been enough battles that he's like, no, I don't need any drink, just let me get warm. He's like, I can freeze my ass out on the wall, or I can wait in here to die. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
and then. I think Tormund is the last one to roll in. I think it's everybody that's in there. And then you could tell they're just all drinking and have a good time. And then they're out of what they were. Let's see. You get Tormund's story.
Oh, yeah, about killing the giant and then being breastfed for 3 months. And he's like, that's why I'm so big.
I miss his stories.
Like, I love how Brienne is like, I don't want nothing to do with this man. But, like, she secretly, I think, like, admires him, right? Like she knows she's not into it, but at the same time, she's like, it's weird that he can go puppy dog love in, like, such a brutal way for me, Like, that's cool, like, and then, like, Jaime's, like, there, like, kind of going, what the fuck is going on? And then, like, it dawns on him that, he's basically telling him this, like, hey, my dick's bigger than you story.
Right.
Like,
it's literally a fishing story, but it's about his dick. It was this big. And I think, I'm not sure if this is true or not, because I don't have the episode right in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that, like, when he was telling the story, all he was doing was staring directly at Brienne the entire time. Like, he didn't look at anybody else. He was just, like, looking at her, like, telling the story. I'm going to maintain eye contact this entire time. Then I'm going to drink this entire horn of ale.
Yeah, that was great. That was a fun scene.
It's so great to be able to laugh about this, because we're not going to be laughing next week at all. It's going to be an Eeyore-style episode next week. It's going to be awesome, but it's going to be so Eeyore. I know it is.
I don't know, man. I mean, I know it's like, it's most certainly not going to be a feel-good episode like this.
No, there'll be plenty of like, yeah, like, because someone got a good kill, and then they'll be like, yeah, no.
But yeah, like, I don't even think this episode there's gonna even be like the like, oh shit, we had to leave like the guy behind. Like,
okay, you believe that? That lets you sleep at night?
No, like, okay, what I'm saying is, like, there's not gonna be a scene, and I don't think John's gonna die tomorrow. Or, the next episode. But
right.
What I'm saying is I'm just going to use him as an example, right? I don't think there's going to be a scene where in this battle in the next episode where we watch and you see, like, a dude fending off 4D of these things and, like, you're like, oh, shit, he's going out, and it's kind of their heroic, like, hack and slash, like, da-da-da. I think if people are going to die in this, it's just going to be, like, they're in the battle and that motherfucker just got decapitated because it's that type of battle. Like, I don't... And then you'll have, obviously, something epic, like a dragon fighting another dragon, or, like, one of the, like, White Walker guys maybe going down. But I really don't think in this episode you're going to have that, like, one, like, standoffish, like, the camera just comes in on this guy, and it's like, oh, shit, we're going to watch them die. Like, I think we're going to see maybe more of, like, the third ring of friends. Like the dudes you call when your other buddies are dating everybody else.
The ones that you have to question whether or not to invite to your wedding, because then it opens up the group to a whole bigger chunk of people.
Right, yeah.
Those friends.
That's your friends. Like, it's like, if you were single, homie, we were good. But now you're dating, like, Susan, and, well, fuck her. And I don't want anybody else of that nature here, so...
No Susan, no Karen. Sorry.
Right, yeah. But I think we're going to see people like that get get clipped in this episode in like fun fucking ways. Like I don't think we're gonna have that emotional death. Like we're gonna be like, oh shit, that motherfucker was gone, but it's because it was like, what? No fucking way moment. And then you're like, oh shit, we lost this guy.
Okay, so let me ask you. So, okay, let me go through some of the outer ring people. So Ed, Dolores Ed, like you think he could go on Sunday and it would suck, but it wouldn't be like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Gendry could go.
See, I think Gendry going would be more heartbreaking than more people would give it credit. Like, I don't think we'll even really see him doing a whole lot of anything next episode. Like, I think if we see him, it's still gonna be him, like, adapting to what needs to be done for the siege that's happening. Right? Mm-hmm. Maybe not, like, forging as much as, but he's like, okay, now we gotta shift all this shit over here, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, he'll be that guy, and we won't see him probably really kill or crush anything until the wall itself is breached. Like, I don't think he's gonna be, quote-unquote, near that. So I don't even think we even have to worry about him.
So who else do you consider in the third ring? Like Gilly?
Yeah, but like Giantsbane.
Yeah, but you don't want Giantsbane to die. He can't die.
I know, but I'm saying, like, to me, he deserves, like, an epic battle, but he's also, like we were saying when you came over earlier today, he's that dude that, like, I don't want to see die, because I think he's one of the only wildlings that we know about, blah, 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 blah. Like, he just kind of, to me, has a little bit of that plot armor right there.
Right.
But also, he's in that ring to me of, like, the dudes that are, like, almost in, but aren't, right? You know? And if he goes out, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, right. And I think his death, again, wouldn't be a, like, it's not going to be him saving Brienne, like, epically. Like,
right, it'll be him, like, distracting 40.
The dude that was almost going to hit her in the battle as it was normally happening, and then, like, him looking with a smile, and then getting dropped like that. And you just go, whoop! Oh, right. Fuck that. No, fuck you, GOT. Like, that's where you'll get with him.
Right. So the Hound, he could go.
And I don't think anybody would give a shit. Like, everybody loves the Hound, but the Hound's like a dude that if he dies, everyone goes, I know deep down you're not a bad guy, but you've also done enough terrible shit to enough people that, oh well.
Okay, Beric Dondarrion.
Which guy's that?
Eye patch, flaming sword.
Oh yeah, no one gives a fuck.
Now here's my thing with him. Only reason I want him to last till the end of the fight is because I want to see that sword the entire goddamn fight.
Oh yeah,
I just want to see that thing flopping around. Just
aesthetically and also like heartwarming from a fighter's side. It would be nice to be standing on that wall and still seeing that fire sword slashing and moving around. You're like, okay, woo, still doing something out there, guys. We're doing all right. But yeah,
follow that sword,
right? No, that's totally. But yeah, if he died, no one would even care.
Right, Davos Seaworth.
Everyone in the audience will be like, "What the fuck, GOT? Get out of here!" Like, because again, he's one of those dudes, especially when he's like feeding the children and, you know,
remembering Lyanna.
Right, like, yeah.
Wait, it wasn't Lyanna.
No, what was her name?
She was named after somebody else already on the show too. But she was Baratheon's kid, the one that got burned. They got burned at the stake.
Yeah. No, but I could see something like, I personally would be heartbroken. Like, I like him, but again, the whole thing he's alluded to is like, I've never been a fighter and somehow I'm still here. Like, he's not going to have like an epic battle. Like, that dude's...
He's a survivor.
He's a sneaky survivor guy. Like, he'll be the dude, if anything, he'll be a guy that if he dies, it's him because he somehow found a way to get in behind them and could put like the dragon glass bomb at the center of the shit. And he's like, well, because I was a fucking pirate, I'm the one that does it, and I have no children, so I do it. You know, like, he's that guy that'll sacrifice himself. So I don't see him getting swatted out in battle tomorrow. I don't know why I say tomorrow, like we were on the wall right now. Like, all right, man, as soon as the sun
It
comes
is
up,
tomorrow.
it's
That's
gonna happen.
right. Oh man, yeah. It's just been like one long night since Sunday. I'm like, oh man, just waiting,
Yeah,
just waiting.
Since she was knighted, though, that is almost like worrisome because it's like, man, you got too much of the good shit right before something bad's going down.
Right. Did we already talk about this episode, or did we talk about it at your house today about her? I can't remember if I said it earlier today. Anyways, yeah, she's had everything. Oh, I did talk about it just a minute ago. It's been 45 minutes. I can't remember anymore. But yeah, she's had everything. She's gotten knighted. She's going to lead an army of men. So I'm very scared for her in the morning.
Yeah, and I don't like that is like her everything, right?
But it is. How many people actually, good question. How many people on this show have gotten to fulfill their full arc that they've like had since we met them in the show?
Oh no, not many, but I don't want that to be like her death warrant, you know what I'm saying? Like right, I don't want it to be, oh, here's your rose for your grave.
Right. I kind of want her and Tormund to survive, and then she's like, no, okay, we'll bang.
Well, I mean, just for genetics alone, I think those two should just, in real life, like just make a couple offspring, just to probably help the human race out in general. those are some fantastic genetics flowing through both of those individuals.
Right. You got to see Jorah and Lyanna Mormont meet for the first time ever. So the lady bear and her cousin, he's her cousin. So that was that. I thought it could have been like a better scene. Like she was snarky enough, and she's like, "I'm gonna fight. I'm the head of this house. I'm not going to the stupid crypt. Like I'll be out there with everybody else." Mm-hmm. So you think she's gonna bite it? I want her to be like a little. I want her to actually have some skills. You know what I'm saying? Not just be surrounded by like 5 bodyguards who are all taking people out.
Yeah, see, like that's the only thing that concerns me with her is. Like, Arya, we know... I'm
not worried for her at all.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we know, like, basically, she's just been trained from the moment she stepped foot on this earth, either by a Stark just shooting a bow, like, in general, hey, just learn how to do this shit. And then all of a sudden going to, like, fucking Spy vs. Spy Academy, right? And, it's weird because she's always guarded. Like, a flock of 4 or 5 dudes flow everywhere with her, which I mean, I know that's a royalty thing, but you're also like, all right, Game of Thrones it doesn't really throw any punches when it comes to shit, and you know, what's a 20-ounce sword gonna be against one of these, I don't give a shit, zombie children running at her, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, but again, if she died, no one would give a fuck. If anything, it would make it so cousin survived, and then he's like the head of the house.
Jorah's head of the house, even though he's been exiled.
Yeah, and then you have this whole now, like all of the 7 kingdoms are all kind of fallen under everybody's already pecking order that we see in the show. Anywho, you know, kind of thing. So, I mean, I could see him spinning. Like, I could see they're doing her death, something like that.
I thought it was cool that Sam gave Jorah Sam's father's sword.
Mm-hmm. And then I went, well, he's dead because now he just got handed his rose too. Like there was too many good shit. Well, like you said, handing to people, and I was like,
that wasn't his. That's not Jorah's sword. That's the Tarly sword.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying this was like, I don't know. Like, there's no equivalent in today's age. I guess it would be like handing someone your phone and going like, you know my password, homie, because I trust you, right? Like this sword,
that is a horrible comparison.
Dude, what the fuck do we have? Like, right? Like, what?
Nothing. It sucks to live in this time.
I don't have a family crest of any shape, of any significance that I could hand you and go, our houses are now bonded. Like, and you would probably look at me and go, are you drinking again, man? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, right? Like, you know, but like when he's handing that sword over, that's like, I don't know, dude. That's like giving your firstborn to somebody kind of thing. Like, you are the godfather, whatever, right? And so him getting that and having like a house sword again kind of thing, like, and being in good graces and, cousin being like, hey, cuz, you're cool. We're doing this thing, right? Like, everything. And then him having the talk with Dany and being like, hey, you really need to be a little bit more like...
You need some friends, girl.
Not so mean and cold to other females in general, right? Like the fact that he was like dishing out the fatherly advice and her taking it and all. It was like, is this man hitting his bucket list before this next episode? Because there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit getting checked off in this box for this dude. And but if he dies, I don't think anyone would really give a fuck, because we were like, well, we almost lost him to like elephant man disease or whatever the fuck that was. So like, he's already been gone, like no one would care, because everyone's also secretly like, yo, dude, you're just the old guy that kind of just really wants to bang Dany. Like that's really what this is, So him dying, nope, no one would care. Like if they got in and like say off Sam. Like, that might break the fucking internet. Like
if they off Sam,
If like a White Walker just like got him, right, and for whatever they paint. Like if he dies next episode, boy, man,
I did like him. I did like him listing out when the last 3 surviving members of the Night's Watch, like the OG boys, were on the wall the wall at Winterfell, like looking over. It was kind of like an homage to them being at the capital W wall.
Yeah, I
like how when Ed walks up and he starts giving Sam shit, he's like, "Y'all forget that I was the first one to kill a White Walker." Like,
right?
Like I did this. I stole books from the damn Citadel. I did all kinds of shit. Let me list my accomplishments. And he's like, yeah, that means if what he's done is what's leading us forward, we're all fucked.
Right? Yeah, that was a good. I mean, you used to see him when like deployments were higher, but it was always like the picture of like the friends, and they always had like a group of friends just circled that said friends, and then it was like the one picture of the guy that was like giving the dude going away in deployment like all the shit, like, yo, fuck off, loser, don't die or don't come home, kind of shit, like sign, and It was like best friend, right? Like that was 3 dudes that have all been through some shit together that only their bond could do, like jonesing on each other, right? Like I imagine that is even like when units in the military run into like another unit. It's like, oh yeah, we were all, Marines or Army or Air Force or whatever, but you weren't this unit, right? Like it's like,
right.
We got this in common. Like, yeah, but you're not that close, brother. Like that's what those guys were doing, and that was funny and like calming. Like I don't know if you pay attention to your emotions during the show, like. But like
mine just pretty much cry all the time.
Well, dude, like I'll be watching the show and like catch myself, and like all of my thighs and like calves will just be like tensely locked because I'm like ready to spring into action or whatever the scene is calling for, and then I'm like, oh, like relax, body, chill the fuck out. It's just a TV show. Like it was nice. Like I was actually super laid back during that whole scene and like just genuinely laughing at them like picking at each other right there. Like right. I totally forgot the imminent doom that was on the other side of the wall during that scene. Like that was one of my favorite scenes, especially when Sam was like, hold on, homies, in case you forgot.
Yeah, well, and that's why it scares me. That's why it scares me how wonderfully relaxing and just calm this episode was.
Oh yeah, well next episode's going to be just utter fucking chaos, and that's why I was saying I don't think we're going to really see a lot of people die, because I think this episode is just going to be utter pandemonium from all angles, that it's just a war. Like we literally just get to watch a war, and then some behind the, like, I don't know, strategic movements or something, like a little bit of like, fucking da-da-da-da-da, just so you can get back to really just a transition piece so we can go see what's going on the right side of the field.
Right.
I think that's how this episode is going to be. And then you're going to have like the death episodes. Like this one's just going to be full on Michael Bay, boom, 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 epi. And then it's going to be like, Oh, boom! Why am I crying? That thing was just exploded. It's so cool. Why the fuck am I in tears now? Like, who just died? Like, god damn it. Yeah.
Do we think that you've seen the whole army? Because we, at the very end of the episode, you saw the head guys on the horses ride up, but you didn't see the Night King or the dragon or anything. Do you think that that's the whole army that showed up at Winterfell, or do you think we're going to actually have, like, he took half the army here, like the attack at Winterfell is like a feint, and they went to another location that's also close, but, he's been marching in a different way, like they split the army at some point?
No, because there's really nothing left, right? Like, they just pretty much need to go through Winterfell and then go to King's Landing. Like,
right.
Everybody has came there to meet them, because it's like, if we don't stop them here, what the fuck else is going to happen? So I don't really see them, like, diverting. And plus, this whole White Walker army seems to be more of, like, flowing water. Not that it really goes the path of least resistance. It just keeps going in that direction until it goes through whatever's in its fucking way and then continues on its path. Like, only way I would see something like that is if, from the get-go, we had already kind of had two, like, citadels, like, set up, and we were watching both sides. But since, like, everything's at Winterfell, I think this is it.
Yeah. I hope the ice dragon gets taken out quickly, because as concentrated as the defenses are, defense is not a good place to be, or a position to be in, when you have something that can spew that much destruction in, like, a swooping pass. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be, I hope that dragon gets taken out quick. Even if it means taking out another one of the other dragons.
Yeah, I'm so over the dragons. Like, I hope they all just, like, eat it.
Mm-hmm. They can go have their aerial battle somewhere else, but we know that Jon gets on the ground somewhere, because we see the trailer. He's drawing his sword, I think actually in the weirwood trees, where Bronn is leaving himself for bait. So that was a cool little, like, twist that he threw in there, that the Night King his whole point is to kill Bronn, who is the literal library of humanity. From Star Trek. He's what? No shit,
he's
right?
The planet from Star Trek.
We don't have to talk about Star Trek anymore, Corey. It's over. It's okay. We've talked enough Discovery. You're fine. It's the
just
sphere.
Like,
no,
it's just funny how much, like, overlap you end up finding in TV.
Right.
When, like, you watch shit and you're like, damn, we really do reuse a lot of the same thing. Yeah. Why are we killing him? Basically, the center point of all knowledge.
Yeah.
We need to get rid of that.
And that way, the Night King can have no humanity and all his minions, and he'll have the Iron Throne. Which I still am not putting that out of the question for the end of the show. Is that there never has been hope. And I like even when Bran was talking to when Bran was talking to Jaime in the Weirwood earlier in the episode, and Jaime was apologizing, and he's like, well, if you hadn't pushed me, your redemption story couldn't have happened. You wouldn't be here today. And we need you here to fight. And then Jaime and something, and Bran's like, what makes you think there is a tomorrow? Or there is an afterwards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like, who does that mean is going to die?
Yeah, and that was the first time, like, you saw it kind of sink in on Jaime's face, like, I may not make it out of this one.
Right. And I'm also never coming to talk to you again, creepy.
Right,
you sit in your little wheelie chair and you just leave me alone. Yeah, I hope there's some warging that happens. That would be cool if Bran actually takes to somebody or something. Speaking of something, we got to see Ghost for the first time since season 3. And it wasn't even, it was kind of unceremonious too. He was just like chilling next to Sam on the wall with Jon. Like, Ghost was just there. All of a sudden he was there. We've been aching for him for like a season and a half, and it's like, oh yeah, here's Ghost. He's here. We're fine.
I don't even think I fucking noticed that.
Yeah, when the three guys from the Night Watch were on the wall, Ghost was just standing over there next to Sam, just chilling.
Didn't even catch that.
So he's there. So we're good. Ghost is there. So some cool Ghost killing things can happen. I'm sure. I'm not sure Ghost is gonna make it out of tomorrow either.
No, you have like Bran like warg into him though and go fuck some shit up.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, there needs definitely Brandy definitely needs to do something. Do something. Warg out of that damn chair and do some shit.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, I know we can take over animals and they use them as like sight, but you telling me like he just wouldn't grab like a big bear and just go like, all right, man, like sorry, homie, for the greater good, and just like be jumping in all kinds of animals and just sending them in that fucking direction.
I mean, hope so.
I know we've seen animals flee the areas like as the White Walkers come through. They're like, ooh, that's death, peace the fuck out, and like so maybe there's just not a whole lot of like wildlife because it's smart and has fleed the area, you know. So there's not really a whole bunch of shit for him to just jump into. But yeah, I mean, I feel like if you knew first of all, if you can see the future ins and outs, like, and you can jump into animals, like, you know you can contribute more than you're contributing right now. Like, you're actively being lazy to see if this maybe or maybe doesn't work. Like, that's what this is.
God, you're so judgmental. The poor kid's a cripple. Leave him alone.
A cripple with fucking an all-seeing eye that can jump his mind into animals. Like, I'm not saying I would trade my legs for that superpower, but I'm also saying if I saw a wall of Walking Dead coming my way, I would at least attempt to jump. Like, I know that dude can like swat it when he gets close, but I'd be like, all right, I'll just send my little seekers out 50 fucking meters and just send 80 sparrows to peck the living shit out of something over there, right? You know, like, but he's doing that like gimmick they do when someone knows so much they
don't tell anybody.
They just become a watcher. Like, they're like, well, I can no longer interact with anything now because I know what'll happen if I do. And it's like, but you don't. Like, you only see the future, and then you go, well, if I don't act, that's how it's gonna be. Like, so what happens if you do act? You don't fucking know shit then, you jackass. Get off your fucking ass. Future seeing liar.
You hate time travel in every single aspect.
I fucking hate it so much, man. And like, it's the only thing in life I want. Like, I want to be able to float in that bubble through time so bad, just so I can go, oh, I'll never be able to describe this to anybody, but I now understand. Like, I can never explain it, but in my brain, I have now found a way to make it rational to me. But I'm like, I have like the missing link syndrome in my head. Like, I got a beginning and I got an end, and I don't know where that fucking middle is. And the fact that middle then like spirals out of control into all kinds of directions. Ah, man, yeah, time travel has now become like one of my like least coolest things ever.
I love we did like a 5-movie series on time travel at Christmas time. That makes me laugh so hard.
Well, I think that's one of the things that triggered it was like all of the time travel movies, but then realizing that none of us are creative enough to do other than like 3 fucking things with time travel, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just like, you know what? Give me a time travel movie where it's like a legit just time travels. Like, he just goes, all right, man, Tuesday, I'm going to 1922 Egypt. And like, just let me like watch a guy land and then give me the adjustment period of him trying to like get in tune with the times because he's been in the 70s for 30 fucking years, right? You know, or something like that. Like, that's the kind of time travel movie I would like to see. An almost linear time travel movie. I don't
that makes no sense.
I don't want it looping back in any fucking way, shape, or form to like fix or correct some catastrophic event, right? Like, if the dude goes back, it's because he just went back to day one and was like, I had enough fun time traveling, and then you see him pass the device off to somebody or whatever, right? It's not because, oh shit, my wife happens to know like the cure for cancer and my son is like the AIDS super patient and will cure everything, but because I got on this plane at 2 p.m. they blew the fuck up because I left the oven on and now I have to go back and fix that. Like, I don't want that time travel movie.
Is that an actual plot to it? It sounds familiar.
I don't know, dude. It's probably in like the Sharknado alley of movies, you know. Someone's written it somewhere and it's out there.
Yeah. So Podrick's song is now my ringtone right now. Like him singing it, not the one at the very end, which actually it may turn to the one at the very end at the credits. They actually had, I forget which band they said, but like someone did a cover of it. But I was like, way to go, Podrick. I was like, that's good because that's him singing for real. And, you get to see that last sweeping shot over everybody. And everyone you can just kind of tell that everybody has made their peace with what's going to happen tomorrow. You're like, this is it.
Do you
this
think
is where we are.
Do you think him singing was one of those things that like they knew from his resume or something, or it was one of those like kind of hidden talents? Like everybody on the cast, like, yo man, have you ever heard like homeboy hit like that opera in the shower, like after we're cleaning up from the Mud Wars or whatever, like. And they're like, huh? And they're like, the director's like, oh shit, can he? And they're like, yeah, you're singing. Like I always want things like that to be stories like that behind the scenes.
Right.
Like, I mean, like in Pitch Perfect, like, yes, I understand why every one of those females was cast and had to audition to be able to sing. It's a whole movie about singing. But like a scene like that, like it would just be cool if one of them just happened to be able to sound good doing that type of song. And they're like, you want to do that in the show? Right? Like,
right.
Yeah, all right, cool.
I think the way the directors said it, like in the afterwards, after the show's over, you get the few minutes with them with Weiss and Benoff. They say I almost feel like they said they went like, all right, whoever's in this room, the first line, sing it. Oh, this guy's got it. This guy's the singer of the group. None of y'all can carry a tune. And what's really cool, the guy that does all of the music for Game of Thrones, if you listen to the first 4 notes of Jenny's song, which is the one that Podrick sings, it's the same first 4 notes that Pippin's song that he sings, the Edge of the Night, for the Return of the King, right before the Battle of Osgiliath. I can't do it. Osgiliath. Yeah, that when it wasn't the one at night. It was the one at day where they were like attacking on the trees and shit. They were like riding the trees in. Like he used and even some of the shots like during all that was kind of an homage to that battle as well. And actually, I think the battle coming up tomorrow in the show is actually going to have a lot of like callbacks to that battle. So I like it when the musicians like do that little like. And it's the first 4 notes of the song for each song, which is kind of cool. So, anyways, that was a little thing that I noticed.
That's cool. That's like me finding out that little Nas X song.
What song is this?
Oh, what is it? Old Town Road. And the whole story behind the song is basically a rapper who made a country tune with, like, for a lack of better terminology, like urban lyrics, and a country guy's like singing it, and Lil Nas like sings the chorus, and the opening of it is really good, and actually his chorus part is really good. Like I could go without the dude like doing the country part. Like if it was just him doing the whole song, I'd actually really enjoy it. Like the first 45 seconds of the song, I'm like, damn, it's good, but it's actually a Trent Reznor song. The opening of it, this dun 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 dun, is like Ghost 34 from like one of their instrumental albums, and like so that's the riff they pulled from. And the first time I heard it, I was like, man, that sounds real fucking familiar. Like I know that kind of out of tune like guitar. Like I grew up with that. That's in my lifeline of blood. Like I listened to that. Like where is that coming from? And so finally, I fucking looked it up and. I was like, it's a 9 Inch Nails riff in that song. Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense.
Nice.
But yeah, I like when you notice nerdy shit like that. Like, oh man, that's the same fucking chords.
Yeah, well.
This and that, and like da 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 da. It's like I don't know when my brain like decided to go. You're never gonna remember anything. Like you have found a sweet spot for certain subjects and objects that you will always remember things. Any other thing will just be a crapshoot. You may or may not be able to recall that. And like I would have never in a bazillion years, even if I watched that episode earlier that day that had the original 4 fucking chords in it, and I watched this episode later, I would have not noticed it, like, at all. I would have been like, you get it? Did you see it? Did you hear it? What are you talking about, dude? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yep. Would have never noticed that shit.
Well, while I liked the Jenny of Oldstone song, the one that Pippin sings is still way more haunting. It is. I have to go back and watch that again too, like that battle. I actually think I'm gonna watch a few of the battles before Sunday.
He's gonna come in.
I was like,
fucking do it.
Right. I'm gonna have to do something. I want to go back and watch a lot of the big battles from Game of Thrones, just because some of them are so long ago. Like you have the first couple seasons, it was kind of like we don't have a lot of money, so a lot of guys are gonna ride in like after the battle. Like when Jaime got captured, you never saw that battle. Speaking of his battle, that's one of the things he said while they were like drinking around the fire. They're like, yeah, Jaime, when they were like comparing everybody's like battles they had been in, and like, yeah, Jaime, battle of this, and he's like, and famous loser of the battle of whatever in the woods it was called, where he got captured. Yeah, so that was funny, but yeah, I mean, I think we've hit most everything. I mean, Dany and Jon is going to be interesting. They're a little dynamic, except when after he finished telling her and she ended up giving him shit about your brother and your best friend told you you're king. Okay, I mean, like. Right? I see her point.
That's the problem with being the third party in this. Because you're like, I mean, I know John's right because I saw the info too, bitch. Like, why are you arguing? But you got to remember, like, she doesn't know. And I feel that's a very valid point coming from someone that doesn't know, like, hasn't seen the actual documentation. Like, oh, so your best friend and your other boy told you I was cheating on you. Oh, okay, that makes sense, right? Like,
Well, you know what's going to solidify it, and I kind of hope it happens, if not this coming episode, which it probably won't, but like the next one, is Bran needs to tell her something that she knows that no one else knows. So he could be like, look, I understand you think it's just my brother I want to put in the throne, but I'm not Bran anymore. Like, remember that day in the plains, with the Dothraki, like something that he would never know or couldn't know, and then she understands that he's not just Jon's brother. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Again, that's the other part of him. Just
show your powers, bro.
My dad always told me if you got diabetes, like figure out a way to use it to your advantage. Like you could have dropped knowledge bombs on like every one of these motherfuckers, like right from the get go, and like, hey guys, just to dispel any curiosities we may have about whether I am some 3-eyed raven or not. Boom, mom's gay. Boom, brothers, blah blah blah. Like, oh, by the way, remember when you used to masturbate to cats in the closet there, Jeffrey? Shut the fuck up. Like, just drop the most insulting, embarrassing shit on all of them right in front of everybody and be like, we good? Death's coming. We're straight. We're good. We're right.
Somebody whittle me a mic to drop.
At that point, he should have just like hovered out of his chair, like just walked into a fucking raven and like had them all come pick him up and fly him the fuck away. Like that's what he should have done and been like, guys, kind of know what the fuck's up.
Just a little bit.
I may be giving him.
Then he should be more involved in the planning.
Too much credit for being a guy that basically told everybody in this episode that he's the reason. Like,
right, this guy's coming from me. Well, let's just wheel his ass out in the middle of the field then, damn.
Yeah, it's funny too that like the only solution is to put the least mobile character in the show out in the middle of nowhere as like bait.
Nah, it's still within the walls of Winterfell. It's just in the forest part of it.
But it's like bait. Like that's what we're doing. Like,
right.
That's what we're luring this guy out with.
So one last question, because I think we've touched on a lot of it. One last question: does the Night King raise anybody from the crypt, like the newer dead down there? I mean, a lot of them don't have their heads, so I'm not sure that's an issue though when it comes to the Night King's army.
Yeah, I wonder what the half-life on his raising. Yeah,
raising power.
I mean, or does he just go, "Hey, I'm gonna raise all the dead," but like honestly, if you don't really have a whole lot of meat on your body, just stay in the fucking ground. Like, I don't need you. Like, there's not enough flesh here to make any impactful use. It's not an old pirate movie.
Right. I mean, a lot of his army was just almost just only bones, but
yeah, but even those guys were like,
there's only a few folks in the crypt.
I feel like a lot of those crypt people are like bones in a bag, and that are
Right.
just in a fancy thing.
Yeah, I think Caitlyn Stark is still probably squishy enough to be risen, which would be kind of cool, only to the sheer fact that her character from the books never got to its next level. Because I know you don't read the books, right? Or have you read the books?
No, I haven't read them yet, no.
So not a huge spoiler, but she becomes Lady Stoneheart. Like, she gets brought back to life like Beric Dondarrion style, but not quite that way. So she's not all there, but she doesn't talk, and she's all like Walking Dead style. But she has a whole like separate arc in the book, and that never happened in the show. And people are always like, when is she going to come back? I would just, if they brought her back just to bring her back as a part of the the Night's King's army, just for a hot second, that would be kind of cool. Just kind of to pay homage to what she could have been, in the show that they chose not to go with. But that's all. You're right. There's not a lot of folks down there that could be raised unless he can actually pull together bones, which I'm not sure if he can or not.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it would be dope to see like a fucking headless Ned pop up and then pop his fucking cranium back on his shit with his and like snag the closest thing to like his original like broadsword, and just kind of have his zombie ass slightly dragging that motherfucker and just watch him go like swat some people around for a little bit. Or it'd be neat if like all of the Starks somehow could resist the shit when they were awoken because they're on Winterfell, like there's some magical connection to the land.
yeah,
I really wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me though if like some fucking magical twist like that kind of shit happened. It wouldn't.
yeah. I'm wondering how much. Yeah, I'm wondering how much magic is going to be in this episode coming up. There's going to be a lot of battle, and you already have Debbie, other than a giant army of dead people. But I mean, like how much Bran is going to do, how much like the Night King is going to do, how much magic is going to happen, which could be, I don't know, it could be crazy.
Yeah, like where's all of the like when is, and I only kind of say this now because we know that they're going to have a new show that's with the older times of this whole generation. So it's kind of like, when is some of that old magic that everyone talks about that used to be floating through these blades and metals and things? Well, we're basically at that boiling point of those magics way back when, banging heads to get rid of, the White Walkers and the creations and all that shit. Like, so to me, it's like, well, we've been talking about it loosely for a while now. So like, when is, the Lord of Light actually gonna maybe do something? Like, when is this special weapon that was gifted by this, that, or blah, 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 like, when is that gonna kind of do its thing? Or, like, when is Bran gonna actually go, what can I really do? Or, like, where are those kind of
moments going to come in?
Magic-y and moment-y things going to happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's more than one person on that battlefield who's been specifically touched by the Lord of Light. You got Jon, you got Beric, at least. So, there's no telling. I'd like to see that, Jon has some other things that he doesn't know about yet. You know what I'm saying? Like some, for lack of a better term, power that he doesn't know he has yet because of the way he was brought back. The Lord of Light has always been this, like, he's there because they bring people back from the dead and heal their wounds automatically. Like, so the guy is real, but like, it's time for him to step up and do some God shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right? Yeah. Yeah. At a certain point, like,
you gotta put up or shut up, bro.
Right? I mean, yeah, especially when there's this level of extinction event going on with your quote unquote worshippers.
Right. If
it's anything like American Gods,
that's
like,
exactly what I was gonna say.
All run on that shit. Like, so you better be down there backing your homeboys up.
Exactly.
That's how you're gonna get some brownie points right there.
All right. Well, with that, let's call this episode. It was it was a nice light, calming episode. Nice calm before the storm is going to happen tomorrow morning on the show. So we will call this podcast now. I do not know the state that we will both be in for the next episode, for our next podcast episode after whatever happens. the internet could break with Endgame dropping today, because we're recording this on Thursday, and the biggest battle of all Game of Thrones history happening on Sunday. We could literally break the internet.
I know, man. I'm gonna have to pretty much just like avoid Twitter for like the next 4 days.
Yep.
I think I already muted Endgame
Stuff, yeah.
just because I mean, like, I'm not dumb enough to click on any of the fucking links, and like, and really, I don't know how much you can write in like 240 characters that's going to spoil the movie that much for me, right? Like, right. I mean, just chill the fuck out.
Like, calm down, yeah. But it's definitely a entertainment weekend, and the worst part is like you can't get tickets for it now. If you didn't buy them in advance, you're not going to the movie, and if you are, you're sitting in the front row in the front right corner, so you're not going to see anything but that corner.
I think I have a spider.
Well, you better get it. You better burn that house down.
I saw it crawl on my desk as we were talking. It's a wolf spider, so I'm not like overly concerned with it because those guys kill all the annoying shit. I just don't want them up here on my desk. Like, I'll catch you, take you back outside, Bubba. It's nice weather. Like, I just don't want to be typing and you go scurrying across my hand and you go, what the fuck? Like, I don't need that in my life.
And you're in the ER.
Oh, dude. Okay, hold on.
Oh, story time. Stay tuned, children.
I fucking scared the shit out of myself.
I love when that happens, when it's just yourself. Do tell.
So, a little while ago, my little one got lice. So, got that situation corrected. But ever since then, like, I've kind of had the, like, bugs on me feeling, you know, and I'm like, ugh, it's so annoying. Well, I had a string in my armpit area, like, where the shirt is, like, sewed together, I guess, like, come up. So I'm in the kitchen, and, like, I'm cleaning, and all of a sudden, dude, like, I have my arms kind of up, and I think I'm putting away dishes, and, like, that little string, like, did the bug feeling, like, crawling on the inside of my arm, because it went up and down on it real quick, but it was thick, so I thought it was, like, a big fucking bug. Ooh, there's that spider. And, damn, he's gone now. Anywho, fucking, I jumped so hard, and in one motion, like, yanked my shirt off over my head as I jumped up in the air, pulling this off. Hit both of my hands on the fucking fan blade spinning at high speed in my kitchen. So, like, yank it off, whack, whack, oh, fuck, throw the shirt, like, shake it, because I think there's some giant bee in it, or wasp, or whatever found its way into my fucking armpit. And I'm, like, swatting myself, bouncing around, like, trying to, like, fucking get it off me. And then, like, I shake the shirt, and I pick it up, and I'm looking at my knuckles. I'm like, fuck. Like, they're all throbbing at this point. And then, like, I get the shirt up and it's all inside out. And I'm, like, eyeballing it. I'm like, all right, man, fuck's on this thing. What was trying to eat me? You know, like, what was trying to get in my skin? And I noticed that little piece of string. And I was like, I really hope it was a bug. So I flipped the shirt back in and I put the shirt back on. And I kind of did the same motion again. And it did the same feeling on my arm. And I was like, fuck! Goddamn string scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, there's no way to look any uncooler than when your own brain scares the shit out of yourself, and you react in that, just your body lose all control of what you're gonna do, because your lizard brain is making you kill, remove, get away from whatever your brain has put in that location.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh man, I love your stories. Okay, let's kill this podcast, and we will come back next week, probably in not nearly as good of a mood, or having a hard time talking because our jaws were on the floor for the entire hour and 22 minutes this next episode is.
Nice.
Movie time now is what it's going to be. So, and no plot, all action for 2 hours straight.
It'll be a good time. All right, guys.
We will catch you guys on the flip side and see you next time.
Thanks for listening.